You are listening to WVEB Truth Sharks Radio. Well. Hello, everybody out there in Blog Talk. Well, I feel like I'm going back to my old days, but hello, everyone out there in these podcasting streets, and welcome to Black by Color Only, a division of the True Sharks Radio Network. I hope today finds you doing well. I am your host and friend, the Sand Tiger, DJ Southeast Vince, coming at you from a place called Durham, North Carolina. This show will discuss topics that affect the so-called Black nation, whatever that is. If you happen to be a fruit bat, beware, because this shark is in the water. How you folks doing? It's been a couple of weeks and whatever, but I want to go ahead get this show started. If you would like to come into the show, it used to be a number, when I was with Blog Talk Radio, we used to have a number that you would call in, and it's not that way here now, but you should be able to see where the chat is. It should be a connection for the chat for you to come in, because I've had people telling me they had difficulty finding the chat and whatever, but I don't know how they do it, how it looks to my listeners out there. But it should be a link to carry you to the chat, and you should be able to see the chat, and you'll be able to interact with me on the chat as well. So hopefully we can get all these little bugs ironed out. I'm still trying to work out everything with Podbean. Of course, the turmoil I've been going through this year and whatever, I'm still trying to get my sea legs under me. But and I want to let you all know something too. Even though I'm starting at 7 o'clock tonight, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be starting at 7 o'clock every Saturday. And there's a reason for that. My wife has a part-time job, and sometimes she goes in at different times, and I have to work around it and whatever. So I'm going to try to do my best to get that time out to everybody at my earliest possible convenience, so people won't be, they won't be left out in no man's land and asking me when's the show coming on or whatever. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been very bad with that. I've been very bad with, keeping up the schedule and being sure everything is on time. But, I'm going to try to make a commitment to be sure all that stuff is gets to you on a timely basis, so that you won't, be left out in the dark or whatever. So, but anyway, if you would like to come on this show, okay, this is something I have to stress, because it seems like certain people don't understand what you mean when you say this. If you are a person and you're coming on here with your excessive profanity, character assassinations, ad hominem attacks, trolling, gaslighting, things of that sort, if you come on this show and you want to interact on this show and whatever, and you bring those elements into play, you're going to have a very short time on this show. Okay, I'm not here for the foolishness or anything. I'm here for good dialogue. I want us to be adults here. And when you all come in, I've had people come in here and they'll lead me on, and then they'll go off, saying something real lewd and everything. Real stupid stuff. Really stupid stuff. And those are the people I list under fruit bats as well. My definition of a fruit bat is basically a person who doesn't want to hear, doesn't want to listen to reason, or they all they want to do is argue and cause a distraction. That's what a fruit bat is. They don't want to listen to what you have to say. They always want to talk over you and things of that sort. And also these people who like to just come in and just disrupt the show, thinking they're being funny, but you're being stupid. Okay, so I don't mean to be as blunt as I am like that, because that's not my character, to be honest with you. But if you're going to be stupid, I'm going to oblige you. You come on here, be stupid, and I can kick you off this show. Now, if you don't want to get kicked off this show, come on here, act like you got a smidgen of common sense. And and I'm the type of person, I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me, show me due respect. Okay. And I think that should be everybody's priority. Show everyone, your fellow man, their due respect. Okay. But anyway, I want to get into this show. I might have this turned up a little bit too high. Okay. That should be better. I want to get into this show. And those of you all who have listened to me on this show and everything, one of the things that you might know about me, then again, you might not know about me, is that I'm the type of person, I don't like people doing I don't like them doing my thinking for me. In other words, when you get out there, you talk about a certain group of people, I don't need you to speak for me. I can speak for myself. I might not have the best sounding voice out there, but I speak very clearly, or at least I attempt to. And one thing that gets me about these black leaders is they get up here and they start bloviating about what black people are going through. We black people, we black people, we black people. We go through this, we go through that, we go through this, we go through that. And um, it gets on my nerves because it's like none of you all have come to me and asked me what is my opinion about something or what is my take on something. You just act like this, you act like all black people go through the same thing every day without question. And it's not true. And then when I tell you that a lot of what you're saying that we go through, I'm not experiencing it. You know, you want to call me a coon and all that and everything and act like I'm delusional. You'll say I'm delusional or I'm an outlier or something like that, you know. And just for those of you all, an outlier uh, is something that doesn't follow the norm, you know. Which when they call me an outlier, I don't know what they mean by that because I believe that most black people are basically, you know, going through life the same way I am. And I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to speak for every black person out there, but a lot of the stuff that they keep telling us that we go through on a daily basis, I very, very, very rarely experience it. They say, well, you don't live in the same neighborhoods. And excuse me. Yes, I do. you know, I wasn't raised in a white neighborhood, so to speak. Okay. There were white folks in the neighborhood, but I wasn't raised in a white neighborhood. I didn't go to a white school, you know. So I understand, you know, I can kind of understand why some people would think like that. But really, if you would dig a little deeper, you'll find out a lot of things that you think are oppressing you are really not oppressing you. Okay. So, but I don't like when people get up and they say, okay, black folks, I am your leader. I am your hero. I'm here to be your spokesman. I don't need you to be a spokesman for me. Like I've said time and time again on this program, even before I got to Podbean, I can think for myself. I am a free thinker. I can come to my own conclusions. I can look at a situation. I can put together my experiences and I can come to my own personal conclusions. I do not need you to speak for me. But you get these people, they get up here and people have made them into these icons and these heroes, and they tell you, you know, this person is this and this person is that. And, you know, and they get up there and they get on their talk shows and, you know, they're going all across the country and they're speaking their mind and they're telling you this is what black people go through every day and everything. And I'm sitting there like, first of all, you don't speak for me. Maybe you're going through that. And I really seriously doubt if you're going through that. But let me just bring up something here. I hope I'm a little bit better prepared today than I was the last time I did a show. And I hope you all can hear me out there. It looks like everything is popping and whatever. Looks like everything is popping the way it should. So, you know, But let me pull up this article. Um, and this article, it involves somebody that, I'm pretty sure 100% of those of you all who might be listening right now, you know who this is. If I mention this person's name, you're like, oh yeah, her. Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama. Okay, she just recently put out a book. I forgot the name of the book. The Look. There it is. The name of the book is The Look, and it shows Michelle Obama and her different styles of dress and everything, and she explains why she's dressing like this and why she looks like this, and this is how she was thinking when she was dressing like this. Like we really care about that? I really don't care. I don't give a rip pair of jeans what you wear or how you wear it or why you wear it or why you wear it. Excuse me. Excuse me. But Michelle Obama has become basically a goddess to a lot of you all out there. Whenever she makes an appearance, she is like she just gets your unadulterated attention, your unadulterated respect, and it's like nothing she can do that is wrong. And she gets a lot more respect than almost every other first lady out there. You know, she made a statement one time. She said that uh, white people act like she doesn't exist. And I'm like, well, that's funny because it seems like almost most of the time I go to the store and, go to the magazine rack and everything, you'll see Michelle Obama, probably on the face of one of those magazines or even featured in the articles. And I'll be honest with you, if she's featured in an article, she'll probably be featured on the front page. They just think Michelle Obama is the queen of all goddesses. They just, and but you didn't see any photos of Melania Trump. I be honest with you, I've very rarely seen any pictures of Laura Bush, you know. But you see Michelle everywhere, and Michelle commands respect everywhere she makes an appearance. Now, Michelle kind of drives my nerves really because she's made some statements in the past, like she was at a graduation one time. I think it was in Ohio. And she said, there are people, she was talking to some black kids. She said, there are people out there who are going to look at you and think you're the help, as if, because you're black, they think you're the help. You're supposed to be helping out here and you're going to be their personal slave or something like that. Or if you're tall and you're in the store and someone asks you, hey, can you get me something off of the top shelf over there? Automatically, she thinks it's because I'm black. They think because I'm black, I'm supposed to be their slave and everything. And me, I'm 6 feet. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall. I'm a rather tall dude. Okay. And I have more than, I don't know how many times people have asked me, hey, sir, can you help me get that off the top shelf? And I'm like, okay, much obliged. I ain't got no problem with that. I don't sit there. I'm not so caught up in my skin color that I look at myself and say, wait a minute, they probably did that because I'm black. No, I'm a person. I'm going to help you out. I don't care who you are. If you're a little short, little white lady, and you're asking this tall black man to get something off the top shelf for you, I'm going to do it just as quickly as I would do it for a little short black lady. It makes me no difference. But see, Michelle Obama and her ilk, they always want to command the narrative. They always want to say, whenever these white people are asking you to do something, it's because they feel superior to you. And the worst part of it is all these people, all these people who she who who she has their attention, the people who has her, um, the let me the people's attention that she garners. Those are the main people. They sit there. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, she knows what she's talking about. I forgot the name of that lady from Rhode Island. She's a teacher in Rhode Island University. Little short, little round black lady. Brittany something. I forgot her last name, but she gets up talking about, hey, she doesn't like the sound. She doesn't like to hear people talk about black women who are overweight, because we're living in the Trump era and all that. And I'm sitting there like, lady, you were round and roly long before Trump came into play. So don't even play that. But the people in the audience were like, like, what do did common sense just die overnight or something like that? When did common sense die? And then you listen to people like Jamal Bryant get out there talking about their Trump boycotts and everything. He's talking about taking that Trump boycott, the not Trump, but Target boycott to the next level. And people, amen, yeah, all right, yeah. I shopped at Target today, got me some groceries today. But anyway, I digress. Uh, but these people, they seem to command a lot of attention because they like to tickle your ears, so to speak. They like to hear what and they act like it's so deep. It's so deep, And Michelle Obama, she can't think herself out of a paper bag. I'm just going to say that. She can't think her way out of a paper bag. She just gets up there, she flaps off at the yap, and she just commands all this attention, and she gets all these people's ears, and they're the ones that make her. Is the word? What's the word I'm looking for? She commands all this attention, and they validate her with all the attention that they give her. And so whenever Michelle, says something, she can say bippity boppity boop, and everybody's like, ooh, that's deep. But she gets up here, and folks, I tell you, there are certain people that really get my goat. I'm just going to be honest with you. People like Roland Martin and Rashad Ritchie and Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and all the rest of these guys out here. There are certain people, when they get to, saying their little stuff, it's like, oh my goodness, please beam me up, Scotty. There is no more intelligent life down here. But Goddess Michelle gets up here, and let me see here. Let me get here. And all that noise y'all hear in the back, that's my wife. So this is from MSN. This is from MSN. This is an article from MSN, and it's from yesterday. It says Michelle Obama lashes out at white people during interview for new book. Former First Lady Michelle Obama claimed that she had to conform to white beauty standards during an interview for her new fashion book, The Look. So, you all are probably feeling the frustration already by hearing that first sentence. Former President Barack Obama's wife said she felt obligated to keep her hair straight during her tenure in the White House in a conversation with actress Tracee Ellis Ross, who is also another wokist. She blamed white people for the exhausting beauty standards she felt she had to upkeep while she was in the spotlight. Reflecting on her childhood, she told Ellis, Black people need to know how to present themselves because how you present can sometimes save your life. So, what Michelle is saying is that she and her husband ascended to the heights to where they became residents of the White House for about 8 years. But she felt like she had to straighten her hair out in order to comply with white America. That's basically what she's saying. In other words, white people have become her god. She's obsessed with white people. But let me go on. Obama said her exposure to high end of Chicago taught her a lesson. And to access those places and not be accused of stealing, you realize very early on that you better let them hear you talk or come in with the right Lissac case, or else you would be watched, the former First Lady said. Now, I don't know where she gets this from. But she thinks, you got to present yourself a certain way when you go into a certain place, or else, the white people going to be watching you. Well, sometimes you can present yourself in such a way that black people are watching you too. I can't point to one instance where I've ever been in a store and someone followed me around because I was black. Not one time. Not once. And of course, people say, "Oh, you're an outlier. You're an outlier." What does that mean anyway? What do you mean I'm an outlier? Because I go to the same places that any other black person goes to. But see, it's a certain way I carry myself. I don't carry myself like I have a chip on my shoulder, pants sagging down, wearing a hoodie and it's 85 degrees outside, talking like I don't have a command of the English language and walking like my ankle is broken. But I'll go whenever I go into a store. First of all, I'm not thinking about stealing anything. That's the first thing, first and foremost. And let's just say, and maybe someone has followed me around. If they have, I never noticed it. I don't care because I am so intent on going into this store, seeing what they have, so I can assess my finances, whether I can get it or not, or maybe somewhere down the future, I can say, okay, this is what they have. Let me see the price and let me see if I can get my finances together in the future and I can purchase this item or whatever. I don't go into the store with the mentality of stealing. And when I go into a store, I also don't give the look that this guy might want to steal something. If I take something off the shelf, I'll look at it, put it back on the shelf, boom, okay. But I don't go into any store with the intent of stealing. And if anybody thinks I'm, because I'm black, I'm going to steal anything, well, then you're going to be a foolish one when I come up to the cash register, I come to the front, and I purchase everything that that I put in my basket. You're going to be the one feeling stupid. So I'm not concerned about if you're following me or anything. I don't care. Follow me if you want to. Now, there's a reason why so-called quote unquote white people might be following black folks around, because it seems like they have the experience. The people who seem to be stealing from them the most are the black folks. Now, you got white shoplifters. Yes, you got them. You got the Hispanics. You got anybody can be a shoplifter. But the reason why I think they want to eye black folks is not simply because they're black. It's because their experience has shown them that most of the time it's the black folks that are going to steal from them. And people will say, oh, that's a racist statement. No, it's not a racist statement. It's a true statement. Nothing racist about it. And see, this is the reason why we can't take care of business in the black communities, is because we always want to every time someone points out a shortcoming in the black communities, we always want to cry racism all the time, and we don't deal with the problem. We don't tell our kids, don't go in here being a thug, don't go here being a hood rat. And if they get in trouble with the police, everybody wants us to say, oh, it's because they're racist. They did that because he was black. No, they did it because he was stupid. But anyway, let me continue the article, Ross read an excerpt from Obama's book aloud. And you know, when you see Tracy Ellis Ross talking with Michelle Obama, she's all giddy eyed. Oh, it's Michelle Obama. Oh, so what? Who gives a rip? In a way, being First Lady was just another professional experience where I had to conform to a white environment of appropriateness, the former First Lady wrote, according to Ross. Obama then discussed the effort she put into keeping her natural hair concealed until she left the White House and eventually turned her attention to white people. Sounds like Michelle's a little insecure. I don't care what you think. If this is the way I like to wear my hair, guess what? You can talk about me all you want to. I don't think anybody ever came up to Michelle Obama, pointed a gun at her head and said, look, I'm tired of that black hairstyle. You better dress up like us white people. And people just eat this up. Yeah, they don't like our hair. You know, we got to struggle with our hair. That's why we straighten our hair and everything. Well, then why don't you tell some of your sisters stop wearing them blonde wigs? You want to talk about cultural appropriation? You're the one that gets your money, goes to the hair shop and buys the blonde wigs and the straightening combs and the hair gel and everything. You're the one doing that now. If you got a problem, look, if a white person has a problem with your hair, you need to tell them, well, that's their problem. It's not mine because this is my hair. No, you do that because you want to look a certain way. Has nothing to do with white people. Let me go on. I need a. Where did I miss it? Okay. Michelle Obama. Okay. Let me explain something. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here's the meat of the thing. Let me explain something to white people, Obama said. Let me explain something to you white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness, she claimed. Who is she talking to, really? Who is she talking to? She talks like she's talking for everybody. She continued to list a slew of restrictions she believed black people face. Once again, she talking like, she talks for all of us. That's why so many of us can't swim, Obama said. What does my hair have to do with how I can swim? Folks, let me tell you all something. In the late 70s, my parents had me enrolled in swim lessons. I was 9, 10, 11 years old. They had us enrolled in swim lessons. The reason why a lot of our kids can't swim is because the Shaniquas out there, they care more about their hair and their nails, and they don't want to invest in taking their kids to a class so they can learn how to swim. And really, it doesn't take much to learn how to swim. It really doesn't. Be honest with you. I know how to swim. I guarantee you Michelle Obama knows how to swim. I guarantee you she probably had swim lessons when she was coming up. And she goes on to say, and we run away from the water. Now, the reason why I run away from the water, because, especially if I'm at the ocean, there's a reason why I run away from the water. I'm not a person who likes ocean swimming. I may have read too many books or watched too many movies or anything or something, but I'm afraid of rip currents, stingrays, jellyfish, and of course the ever-present sharks. Now, if you're a person and you like to go into that water and just swim and everything and stuff like that, hey, that you have at it. When I go into When I go into the ocean, I pretty much don't get further above my shins. Because I understand the ocean can kill you in millions of ways. And I'm like, man, nah, that's just not me. There's a beach here in North Carolina called Curie Beach, one of my favorite beaches. It's called Curie Beach. It's south of Wilmington. And the beach it's a nice beach, real nice beach, not too far from an aquarium. And it's part of a state park out there in Carolina Beach. And there's a certain section of Curie Beach that a lot of people, they'll walk past it, they'll walk through it, and out about maybe 100 yards, 150 yards or so, there's a sandbar out there that you can stand on, and the water behind you is deeper than the water, of course, where the sandbar is. And I've seen people standing on that, and I'm like, wow, look at all them people out there standing on that sandbar. And I tried to get enough courage to, just walk out there and go on that sandbar, and I said, no, And on one side of the beach, there's a area has a rock pile, and they have these columns over there. And the way the waves hit that side of the beach, the waves are just huge. And a couple of years ago, a boy was standing on one of those columns. He got hit by a wave and got taken out to sea. I don't think they ever found his body, because they do have rip currents around there. And that's the reason why I don't go into the water. Not because I can't swim. I mean, you can be the best swimmer in the world. You get caught by a rip current. Arnold Schwarzenegger can't swim against a rip current. That's the reason why I don't go swimming in the ocean. Swimming in the pool, yeah, I'm kind of a little leery about that, because and it's not about drowning or anything like that, but sometimes people do things in the pool that I don't, I don't cater to. So that's why you rarely see me in a swimming pool too. But she says, and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. Who's she talking about? It's exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time, she whined. Yeah, exactly. Whined. Obama went on to suggest it was in the best interest of white people to allow black women to abandon these alleged beauty expectations. She referenced the Crown Act, which stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. I never heard of that. The legislation prohibits discrimination based on hairstyle and texture, according to Crown Coalition's website. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair, she said. That's not what that's about. I mean, when you go to a job, you want to look presentable. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of these hairstyles that black people show up to the job on, they are not presentable. And then when someone points it out, you want to sit there talking about, oh, it's my hair. You don't like it because I'm black and all this. No, you look like a troll. They're not trying to get you to have their same hairstyles, because check it out. There are white people who have curly hair. Do you know that there are white people that actually go to the beauty salon? They spend a lot of money and time getting their hair done as well, not just black women. Do you understand that? She goes on to say, don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't, she said. Nobody told her how to wear her hair. Nobody. I guarantee you. She's just trying to drum up favor and support from her black constituents. That's all she's trying to do. I heard my wife in the background. Thought she was saying something to me. Now, I got another article says a clip from Michelle Obama's recent book tour appearance has gone viral after she suggested that societal expectations around hair contribute to why some black women avoid activities like swimming. Why would your hair keep you from swimming? The remark quickly spread across X, where some users heavily mocked the statement, turning it into a viral moment on social media. The clip continued circulating across multiple platforms, making it one of the most discussed excerpts from her tour. Let me go on. Obama made a comment while explaining how many black women straighten their naturally curly hair and then feel pressure to keep that style intact. She said that once the hair is straightened, we are trapped by the straightness. Oh boy. Oh man, I tell you. Adding that water or sweat can undo hours of work. You know what? White women have that problem too. You know, in the Bible, it says that a woman's hair is her glory. Women are going to spend money on their hair, whether you're black, white, brown, red, yellow, olive, whatever. It's one of the main reasons why being a hairdressing is cosmetology is a multi-billion-dollar industry today. It ain't just black women doing that; it's every woman. I can take you up to Washington D.C. My mom, she'll be 79 years old this year. The day after Christmas, my mom will turn 79 years old, and my mom has a head full of hair. I mean, like boom, you know. She doesn't press it or anything like that. And she used to take swimming lessons too. When me and my brother they would take us to swim lessons. She and my dad would go to a separate area and they would have swim lessons too. Obama made a comment while explaining how many black women straighten their naturally curly hair and then feel pressure to keep that style intact. She said that once the hair is straightened, we are trapped by the straightness, adding that water or sweat can undo hours of work. She joked that this is why so many of us can't swim. Black women, black men, what I mean, you're talking, and why some avoid gyms or other activities that might disrupt their hairstyles. As she delivered the line, the host burst into laughter, reacting to the unexpected turn in the conversation. I don't find anything funny about it. I really don't. You know why? Because you got a lot of knuckleheads out here who can't vote outside of a paper bag. They sit here, they listen to her talk, and they take everything to heart. They take everything she says as serious. So it ain't funny to me. Let me go on. She went on to note that getting hair wet during swimming means the styling process has to be repeated, which she described as time consuming and demanding, as if white women don't go through that either. She suggested that this extra effort is one reason why some women choose to avoid water based activities altogether. I don't know how in the world she got off on to, we're styling our hair to look like the white folks to the reason why we got to do this is because we don't like to swim. She's all over the place with this. I mean, this is nonsense, people. I mean, pure nonsense. And this is the reason why people like Michelle Obama pluck my nerves every time they start talking. Whenever they start talking, is like, and the thing that really bothers me isn't really what comes out of their mouths. It's the response they get from their admirers. That's the thing that bothers me. I mean, people sit there, they clap like seals. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm sitting there like, y'all got to be kidding me. This is probably one of the main reasons why I have a bottle of ibuprofen in my medicine cabinet. Because of people like Michelle Obama. They get up here, they spout off their nonsense, and a bunch of people just take them at their every word. Ooh, that's deep. Ooh, Michelle Obama. I just might get that book, The Look, just for the heck of it, just to see what's in it. I might even do a show on it. I'm thinking about it. Now, Michelle Obama goes on, spouts off some more nonsense. And this is at USA Today. And this is from today. And the name of the article says, "We ain't ready. Michelle Obama says the country doesn't want a woman president." Now, before I go into this article, I'm going to say something. It might tick a few of you all off. It might cause you to lose some brain cells or whatever. So be it. But I don't think anyone can lead this country like a man can. I know other countries had female presidents and everything. I understand that, but I think the role of leadership should go to the man. That's just my opinion. That's my thought. But let me go to the article. Michelle Obama said Americans don't want a woman to be president, and that's why they shouldn't look to her to run for the nation's highest office. As we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready, Obama said. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You are not ready for a woman. You are not. No, Michelle, it's not that the country is not ready for a woman president. It's that we need the right woman president. And when she talks about this past election, of course, we know she's talking about Kamala Harris. And how anyone could be an admirer of Kamala Harris is beyond me, because all she does is talk in circles. She's probably got a bunch of salad dressing in her pantry at home, because that's all she talks in is word salads. That's all she does. The former First Lady and wife of President Barack Obama made the comments November 14th in a conversation with Tracee Ellis Ross at the Brooklyn Academy of Music promoting her new book, The Look. "So don't waste my time," she continued. "We got a lot of growing up to do, and there are still, sadly, a lot of men who feel like they cannot be led by a woman. And we saw it. I think we still have growing to do in that regard." Folks, men were created by God to be leaders. You all can call it misogynistic, you can call it chauvinistic, all you want to, but that is how it is. God made men to lead. And that does not mean that the woman is supposed to bow at the foot of the man and kiss his feet and all that, and and do the and be the maid of the house or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But men are supposed to lead. That is what we are made to do. It is not misogynistic to say that. But when you get two horrible candidates like Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, you need to go really deep into why people didn't vote for them. And it wasn't because they were women. We've had women mayors, we've had women governors, we have women principals, we have women in city councils around the country. So miss me with this, oh, the men are not ready for it, because men, they feel insecure about a woman. No, men are supposed to lead. I'm just going to be honest with you. If it offends you that I say that, I'm sorry. But men are supposed to be the leaders. When God created man and woman, he created a man to be the head of the household. He's supposed to be the protector. He's supposed to be basically the shepherd of that home. And the woman benefits from that protection. It's not about subjecting the woman to, it does not mean that the woman is inferior to the man. It just means that the man has a different role than the woman does. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. And we get up here and we, oh well, that's misogynistic and no, men are supposed to lead. And see, this thing about having a woman as a president, you all just care about the you all just care about her being a woman. Forget about what she stands for. And if she does stand for something decent and that's going to benefit the people, y'all don't want that woman. You just want the charismatic. That's why so many people were upset when Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris didn't win the presidency. But we just had an election in Virginia, or in this country, but Virginia was the one I was watching, and there was a lady, Winsome Sears, black lady. And I think she from Haiti or Jamaica. I get those places mixed up because they're in the Caribbean. But anyway, here you have this black woman named Winsome Sears, black woman, but she's not the right kind of black woman. She's a conservative black woman. She doesn't support homosexual rights. She doesn't support the LGBTQIA LMNOP XYZ group. NAACP gets up here. They talk about, oh, we're here to support black folks, but you didn't support Winsome Sears. You supported her opponent, who was a white woman. And most black people in Virginia voted for Winsome Sears' opponent. I forgot her opponent's name. But this was a white woman. But you all always want to get up there and talk about, oh, we care about the well-being of black folks. But you didn't care about Winsome Sears' well-being, did you? But let me continue. Obama was often more popular than her husband while he was president. Yeah, she still is. But has often said she would not run for president. A 2024 poll taken while Democrats considered dropping President Joe Biden suggested that only Obama could beat President Donald Trump. That's hilarious. That really is. Of course, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing on the inside, but she couldn't beat Donald Trump. But 2 of the last 3 Democratic nominees for president have nonetheless been women. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Vice President Kamala Harris both lost to Trump. And that's probably why they keep saying that Trump is a woman beater, because he beat 2 women. But anyway, I digress. And I think that's what ticks a lot of people off. Both of these women lost to Donald Trump, who is a person that they supremely hate. And they can't believe somehow something must have happened for Donald Trump to beat these ladies, because they were more presidential than Donald Trump was. No, they were terrible candidates. They knew how to speak swelling words to a crowd and move the crowd, but their words lacked no substance. That's why they lost. But this is the type of stuff that really gets my goat a lot. These people get up here, they act like they talk for all of us and everything, but then when one of us strays off of the plantation, in other words, when we escape the proverbial slave camp all of a sudden we are a threat to all our black brothers and sisters. That's why Winsome Sears lost, because people felt threatened by her being black. And not only that she was black, but that she was a conservative. And this woman was American to the hilt. That's the reason why people keep looking down on Clarence Thomas, because simply because he's black and he's conservative has nothing to do with his policies or what he or anything like that. It has to do with what side does he stand on. If he stood on the side of the Democrats or the liberals, nobody would be saying anything about Clarence Thomas. But because he's black and he dares to call himself a conservative, now we got a problem. And this is why I can't stand politics. And I don't care which side you're talking about. Politics says choose a side, and whatever side you choose, no matter what the other side says, ignore them. You need to stick to your side. And I see this a lot among the liberal Democrats. But like I said, you sit here, you listen to these people like Michelle Obama. They go off, they flap off at the yap, and everybody just listen to everything they say without using their God-given common sense or their powers of research or study. They don't go out there and say, okay, we hear what's being said, but let's check this thing out. They just fall head over heels for people like Michelle Obama. And if you think the black folks really, if you think the black folks are the reason why that her husband became president, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. If she ever decides to run for the presidency, oh my goodness, you won't hear the end of it. Anybody who says anything about Michelle Obama, they might say, "Hey, she needs to straighten her. She needs to straighten her collar. Her collar is crooked." Oh, you're racist. Off with your head. But like I've said before, folks, whenever you all do your thinking, please think about what you're thinking about. Why do you think that way? Ask yourself that. Why do I think like this? Now, I want to go to another story. I want to go to another story. I should have had this one pulled up. Let me do this. Now, this is another ridiculous story. This is another ridiculous story. And I get this from Fox News. Yes, Fox News. Okay, so what? The other stories I read from USA Today. The other one, what was it? MSN. So I get a bunch of news sources. What in the world? Okay, there we go. Now I get this from Fox News. This was published what in the world? Okay, there we go. Y'all ever get these ad blockers on here? And you do what they tell you to do, and they just Okay, I'm trying to get this page pulled up, but for some reason Fox News wants me to allow ads on, and I told them I want to allow ads. Okay, this one, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let's see what this does. Hopefully, I resolve the problem. And no, it doesn't. It does not resolve the problem. So let me go back here. I guess they don't like Fox News. Let me pull up another one. Um, Let me pull up Newsweek. Okay, here we go. NFL star Amon-Ra St. Brown. NFL star Amon-Ra St. Brown's Donald Trump gesture goes viral. So, Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown's touchdown celebration, mimicking President Donald Trump's signature dance, has gone viral on social media. Newsweek reached out to Trump's representative via email for a comment on Monday. Why it matters. St. Brown's gesture sparked widespread attention online and at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, where Sunday's Lions against the Washington Redskins, I don't call them the Commanders, game took place. The moment highlighted the intersection of sports and politics during an NFL match attended by Trump himself as part of the league's Salute to Service initiative honoring United States military veterans. During the game, the 79-year-old president was booed by the crowd. Of course they booed him. On November 9th, Trump attended the regular season showdown, marking the first appearance by a sitting president at such a game since 1978. Wow. Almost 50 years. When President Jimmy Carter was in office. As Trump watched from a stadium box, St. Brown scored a touchdown in the first quarter and celebrated by pointing toward the president's location before performing the so-called Trump dance, a move characterized by rocking the arms and legs back and forth, popularized by the president at campaign rallies. The gesture was joined by several Lions teammates, so Brown wasn't St. Brown wasn't the only one doing the dance. The gesture was joined by several Lions teammates, including Jameson Williams, and quickly gained traction on social media platforms, including a widely shared video by Outkick founder Clay Travis that garnered over 3 million views on X as of publication. The game took place during the NFL Salute to Service initiative, honoring veterans ahead of Veterans Day, and coincided with Trump's reported planned appearance on a Fox broadcast. Trump's visit was also notable for political and business discussions related to efforts to secure approval for a new Commander Stadium, Redskins Stadium. What people are saying. President Donald Trump said, according to Fox News, I just want to say, was that the greatest flyover ever? Nobody's ever done a flyover like that, he said in reference to the pregame military honors. Detroit Lions linebacker Trevor Nowatzki, I guess that's how you pronounce it, reacted to Trump's attendance before the game per the Detroit Free Press. That'll be cool. I did not know he was going to be there, but that'll be super cool to have the president. That'll be something I'll be able to tell my kids I played in front of the president. That'll be sweet. Redskins club president Mark Klaus welcomed Trump in an official statement, Fox News reported. We are honored to welcome President Trump to the game as we celebrate those who have served and continue to serve our country. The entire Commanders organization, Redskins, is proud to participate in the NFL's league-wide Salute to Service initiative, recognizing the dedication and sacrifice of our nation's veterans, active duty service members, and their families this Sunday. what happened was Amon-Ra St. Brown, he scores a touchdown. The Lions pummeled the Redskins 44-22. I mean, they just, which is a rare thing because for most of their history, the Redskins have been the ones who've been the conquerors of the Lions. But the Lions, Lions, I don't know. They might make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, he scores a touchdown. He gets in the end zone. He starts doing the Trump dance. A few of his fellow players, they start doing the Trump dance. Now, for some reason, he probably caught heat about it because later on, he apologized for doing the dance as if he had committed some kind of crime. And see, this is another thing that gets my goat. Whenever people might do something innocent or whatever, nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. All he did was do the Trump dance and everything. He didn't do anything lewd or vulgar or anything like that. He just did the Trump dance. Next thing you know, he's up here apologizing for doing it. I'm sorry if it offended anybody. Look, let me tell you all something. It is not a crime to offend somebody. Or at least it shouldn't be. Because you know what? The truth offends a lot of people. When the founding fathers put the clause in the Constitution talking about freedom of speech, they weren't talking about the speech that you agree with. People say things to me that offend me all the time, but I'm not like, okay, I don't want him saying that. He shouldn't be saying that because that offended me. But it seems like this offense is a one-sided type of thing. If you offend this group of people, oh, ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, forget it. Boom. Yeah, whatever. But if you offend this group of people, oh, you're the worst person in the world. Now, for past couple of years, we've been talking about how Israel has been killing Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And we over there talking about free Palestine, free Palestine. Okay, all right. Do your thing. But what about reports of Christians being murdered in Nigeria? Now, all of a sudden, nobody's out there saying, free the Christians, free the Christians. Nobody's saying that. Folks, you liberals out there, pull your dresses down because your bias is showing. You guys, all you care about are those who think like you do. And the cry went up and said, during this Trump dance and everything, the NFL is not a place for politics. Oh, really? Really? You don't say. So, why did Colin Kaepernick get so much admiration? Because he and a whole bunch of other NFL players decided to get on one knee, to kneel down during the national anthem. That's not political. Come on, y'all. Come on. You give me the same energy. That's not political. When you put statements like "end racism" in the end zones, it takes all of us and all this crazy mess in the end zones. That's not political. Oh, but when someone does a Trump dance, oh, we don't want no politics in the NFL. Bunch of hypocrites. And the only reason why people don't say anything is because they hate Donald Trump. You don't think like we do. If you don't think like we do, you don't get our sympathy. If you think like we do, then you get our sympathy. That's how it is. That's the world we live in today. That's the world we live in today. Choose a side, and no matter what side you choose, do not agree or give credence to the other side. They can tell you the truth. You can see the truth. And they're speaking that truth and everything, but don't agree with them because they're on the other side. Those are the bad guys. But I'm sitting here like, y'all gotta be kidding me. This is not a place for politics. Him doing the Trump dance was not political. So, Colin Kaepernick getting on one knee during the national anthem and talking about, I don't want to stand for a flag that oppresses black people is not a political statement. You all see the stupidity in this? And it's stuff like this that ticks me off because it's so blatant. You can see it. But you know what? A lot of people, they are willfully ignorant. Willfully ignorant. They don't care. They don't care about the truth. They just want to believe what they want to believe. If I agree with it, I'll believe it. If I don't agree with it, I'm not going to believe it. It could be the truth. The truth could be sitting there on their shoulder, wailing on top of their heads, knocking their brains out. They still are not going to believe the truth because the truth doesn't fit their opinion. It doesn't fit their side. We don't care about the truth. You can't handle the truth. This is the world we live in, people. And did you all see the and I don't know why this is coming out 5 years after the fact, or nearly 5 years after the fact. I don't know why this is coming out. Did you all see the report by the BBC where they showed that they stitched Trump's message together? They edited out part of his message and they stitched two parts together that were like 50 minutes apart to make it sound like that Donald Trump wanted to go to the Capitol and cause a ruckus and everything and commit to violence and everything. And even when they did that, I was like, Trump did not go there to commit violence. But the BBC, they stitched together two parts of Trump's speech to make it sound like he really wanted to start a riot at the Capitol. And if I'm correct, the president of the BBC retired, if I'm correct. And I'm like, well, how come this is coming out like 5 years after the fact? How's this coming out 5 years after the fact? And me and my wife, we were watching it yesterday. We were like, we already knew the truth. We already knew the truth. But here it is 5 years later, and everyone like, oh, you know what? The BBC did this. I'm like, well, shoot, we already knew that. We listened to the speeches. My wife and I, we were sitting there watching the so-called riot in real time. And none of that stuff that people keep saying happened on January 6, 2021, it did not happen. But like I said, people want to believe what they want to believe. The only way they will believe something is if they choose to believe it. Not because the evidence is smacking them in the face or anything like that. It's because they just want to believe this because, this is a man we don't like. We don't like Donald Trump. We hate him. Anything negative you say about him, we're going to agree with it. It really astounds me that certain people still call Donald Trump a pedophile. They call him a pedo. He has never been accused of being a pedophile. He has never been convicted of it, but everybody wants to call him a pedophile. it it the reason why people are like that is because there's a condition called hater syndrome. When you hate someone so much that you're willing to believe anything negative said about that person, whether it's the truth or not, you just want to believe it. You hate this man so much that if someone says something negative about him, you're like, yeah, I knew it. But if someone says the same thing about someone you do like, you'd be like, oh, I ain't heard that. I got to look into that. Well, how come you didn't look into the claims against Donald Trump? You just wanted to believe it at face value because he's a man you don't like. For nearly his 8-year term, people were saying about Barack Obama, "Oh, let's give him time." People were pointing out Barack Obama, his shortcomings and everything, and people were like, "Oh, we gotta give him time. He can't do everything in such a short time." They were saying that almost during his entire 8 years in office. And then when he left office, and Donald Trump came in, and Donald Trump kept doing his thing. Donald Trump came in and did his thing, and the economy started to stabilize, and everything started getting better. Everybody wanted to say, "Oh, that's because of Barack Obama." Okay, so how is it that Barack Obama's policies led to the economy getting better during Trump's time? Well, you had to wait. You had to take some time. But yeah, if something went bad during Donald Trump's presidency, then you will believe it right then and there. You won't sit there and say, "Oh, well, we got to give it some time." Nah, this is a man you hate. Yeah, he's a crook. Yeah. I mean, we live in cuckoo banana town. And people are so caught up with the news media, they think the news media is telling them the truth. The news media is not telling you the truth. That's why you have to perform your your due diligence to study and to research. You cannot take a person's word at face value. As a born again Christian, a lot of times I find myself in the book of Acts, the 17th chapter. In that book, there's a group of people called the Bereans. They say the Bereans, I think they were part of Thessalonica. The Bereans, they were a group of people that they were described as being more noble than anybody else. And why did they get that title? Because when they would listen to Paul's preaching, they would go home and check the scriptures to confirm what he had said. And folks, let me tell you something. A little bit of diligence can go a long way. You really don't have to really dig that deep to find out if something is kosher or not. You really don't. But they would go back and they would check and say, "Hey, let's check these scriptures. We heard what Paul is preaching. We heard him preach. So let's check this out. Let's confirm that what he said is in the scriptures." That's what we need to be when it comes to the news media. And really, a lot of what I'm seeing today really doesn't take a lot of research. It just takes a little use of common sense. So, how come you all coming after this guy for all these allegations and everything, but this guy over here has the same allegations, but y'all not coming down as hard on him as you are this person? All you have to do is observe, observation. That's all you need is some observation and a little bit of common sense. But see, a lot of people, they have the common sense, but they don't use it because they want somebody else to do the thinking for them. They want somebody else to do the thinking for them. Because they're lazy. A lot of these people out here, they can't read. They wouldn't read a book if you paid them $10,000 to read one. But they think they know everything because they heard it on the news. The news media said this. So I'm going to believe the news media. Because they think the news media, once again, we've turned the news media into an idol. And what the BBC did with Donald Trump's speech, that's something that I've been describing on this show for the past several years. The news media, all they do, they'll take a story, they'll cut here, they'll snip there, they'll edit here, and they press it into one little package. They wrap it up in nice wrapping paper and put a bow on it, and they throw it at you because they want you to think a certain way. When are people going to wake up? This is the news media's job. Their job, really, their job is to tell you the truth. But now their job has morphed into getting you to believe a certain way. Because if you believe a certain way, you'll respond a certain way. And if you respond in the way that they want you to respond, their ratings go up. And they get to rake in all them delicious dollars. And you think those people in the news media really care about you? You think they care about getting you the truth? No, they don't. They don't give a rip pair of jeans about whether you get the truth or not. All they care about is themselves. Because I guarantee you can look in the lives of all of these media personalities, and I'm talking about from CBS, ABC, MSNBC, Fox, all of them. I guarantee you, when you break open their bank accounts, these people are millionaires. And they become millionaires because they get you to think a certain way. They get you to think a certain way. And if they get the desired reaction from getting you to think a certain way, then their ratings go up and they get paid. But a lot of you all y'all don't see it that way. Y'all just don't see it that way. I'm going to pull up another story here. Let me see. Let me get here. I am going to pull up another story. This came across my Facebook yesterday. And pulled it. Okay. Let me pull this up. I hope you all can hear this. I'm going to have this turned up. Give me a second.
Name on him? Well, he now owns the American healthcare system. Yeah. It is Trump care. Millions lose.
Let me back this up.
That's Trump care. Americans paying more for insurance. That's Trump care. Everyone having to drive longer and take more time off work. That is Trump care.
All right, let me play that again.
Donald Trump loves to own things and slap his name on them. Well, he now owns the American healthcare system. Yeah. It is Trump care. Millions losing coverage. That's Trump care. Americans paying more for insurance. That's Trump care. Everyone having to drive longer and take more time off work. That is Trump care.
So that there, let me pull this up. That's Congresswoman Sarah McBride. She's up here talking about, everything that you see going on with healthcare and everything and whatever. It's Trump care. Trump care. Now, first of all, Trump care ain't a thing. It's not a thing. But this is something else. This is another tactic that the liberals like to use. They'll get up here, and let's say one of their own comes up with something and it turns out to be disastrous and everything. And people start saying, hey, wait a minute, this thing's a disaster. This is bad. Boom, boom, boom. He said this. No, you got to give it some time. You got to give it some time. We got to work all the bugs out. And everything. And then let's say during that time, they're trying to quote unquote work the bugs out. Somebody that they don't like gets voted into office. And now that this person is in office, now all the shortcomings of the thing that they liked or the thing that they supported, in this case, Obamacare, all the things that go along with Obamacare, now they want to say it's Trump's fault. This is a tactic they do all the time. They don't want to be held accountable for their shortcomings. So when someone comes in and takes their place, someone that a lot of people don't like, they start blaming them for the thing that is corrupting a lot of people's lives, and that's Obamacare. And they get up here, they start talking about when Obamacare was passed in I think it was 2010. When it was passed in 2010, they said, it's going to be less than a cup of coffee. It's going to be less than what you pay for your internet. It's going to save you $2,500 a year. And Obama got up there. He was like, let me be clear. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Not one penny is going to go up on your health insurance. One of the biggest lies ever. I mean, once again, people not observing, people not reading the room, people are tone deaf. They're not seeing what's going on actually. They just want to ignore it because they're so caught up with the man whose name is on Obamacare. So now that Trump is in office now, Obamacare is still ripping apart people's lives, but now they want to say it's Trump's fault. As if Trump came up with Obamacare. They want to sit here and earlier this year I had to get a surgery, get my gallbladder removed. You know how much my premium is? I mean, not just my premium, but my deductible is $7,000. And they call this affordable health care. Affordable. Now, if it were affordable, I would have had it paid long time ago. $7,000 deductible. You know what that means? You know what a $7,000 deductible means? It means before the insurance will pay one dime to my health care, I had to pay that $7,000 first before the insurance company will pay anything. So that means I had to pay my bill out of pocket. But everyone, it's affordable healthcare. I even told someone, Obamacare is messing up our healthcare. And some idiot come up talking about, so you don't want lower cost for your healthcare. I said, idiot, my deductible is $7,000. And if I want a cheaper deductible, I'm going to have to pay more per month. And not only that, you all know this is the time of year for the enrollment and everything and stuff like that. Why can't we just choose what is best for us instead of someone saying, okay, this is when you can get your health care and everything? No, we should be in control of our health care, not the government. Because let me tell you all something. These rascals in the government, they do not care about our health. If they did, we wouldn't have so many chemicals and bad ingredients in our food. Our kids wouldn't be getting fatter and fatter every year. Americans wouldn't be getting sicker. If they cared about our health, they would stop a lot of these practices that they let the pharmaceutical companies engage in. You go to other countries, a lot of the ingredients we allow in the foods in the American diet, they won't allow it in other countries. But they don't care. They're getting paid. And see, this is the same thing with Obamacare. They found a new way to squeeze out a little bit more money out of the American people so they can fill their pockets. They don't care about you. You sit there talking about, oh yeah, the Democrats care about us. Ooh, yo. Nah, they don't care. All they care about is getting them delicious dollars from your pocket, your hard-earned money. Whenever you hear them talk about subsidies, they want to subsidize something. What they're talking about is getting more money out of the hands of the taxpayers into their pockets. And they dress it up and make it look like, oh, this is going to be something that's going to benefit you and everything. Ooh, single payer health care. Ask the folks up in Canada how single payer health care is doing for them. Last I heard, 15,000 people died waiting on a doctor so they can have a certain procedure done. And I remember when Obamacare was, it was in the works and everything, and people were like, don't you all do this. This is what Obamacare is going to do. And they started talking about the death panels, and people want to make fun, the death panels. I guess it's a reality up in Canada. And basically what they're going to do is say, you know what? You're not too sick. We can do something for you. But if you're really, really sick, they're like, you know what? We'll just make you comfortable. You're going to die anyway. There's your death panel right there. You got people waiting years to get a procedure done or just to get an examination. And you know what, folks? I hate to be the bringer of bad news or doom and gloom and everything like that, but it looks like the United States might go the same way as Canada does. Because everyone wants to get up there and they want to talk about, free healthcare. Canada has free healthcare. It ain't free. It ain't free. And you know what? And here's the problem. Here's the problem here. The super rich, the millionaires and the billionaires and everything, hey, when they need a procedure, they ain't got no problem. Boom. They can go there, pay their health care, and they pay cheaper than we do. You go into these you go to get your health care and everything, you're on this health care plan and everything, they say it's $850. But if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, they tell you, it's only $150. How in the world does a millionaire pay a cheaper cost than somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck? Someone tell me that. Someone please tell me that. But this is good healthcare. It's quality healthcare. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And folks got bent all out of shape during the shutdown because they were like, certain people weren't getting their SNAP benefits. And the last time I did a show, I went to Amazon and I checked out, certain things that Amazon sells and everything, like the Swiss rolls from Little Debbie's and all that, the Oreo cookies and stuff. All of them SNAP eligible. Why? 75% of the people who are on SNAP are overweight or obese. 75%. And you see these people, they get up on TikTok or YouTube and they start bragging about the food that they bought with their SNAP. I got $3,000 SNAP. And look, I got some chocolate donuts. Look, yeah. I got some fruit roll-ups. I got some I got some Pop-Tarts. I got these donuts here. I got a lot of these chips over here. What about your tomatoes and your greens and your meat? And when I talk about meat, I'm not talking about that mystery meat. I'm talking about beef and yes, beef, pork, things like that. Now you over here bragging about how many donuts you're buying, and a lot of they say there are 42 million people on the SNAP program. Now think about that. Now that's another thing to think about too. Use a little common sense. You think because the SNAP program went away, that 42 million people were going to starve to death? I don't think so. They might have whined the rest of us to death because, oh, my SNAP program, my SNAP. You're not going to tell me that a person in this country, in the United States of America, can't find somewhere where they can get some food without using SNAP? I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, when we were in our 20s, we were making like $4 or $5 an hour. We ain't never used food stamps. There were times I wasn't even making an income. Never used food stamps. Because I knew if I want the money to buy some food, then I need to get a job. And a lot of these people, don't sit there and tell me these people can't get a job, because some of these people, they get up there, they walk up the street, they walk to the convenience store and everything. Don't tell me these people can't get a job. But they just rather sit around and let the government feed them, give them a handout. And see, what you don't understand is that a government that can give you your food and everything that you can depend on for food, guess what? They have the power to take that food away from you too. We need to stop being political about everything. Oh, woe is me. My SNAP is gone. And you know what? You'll be all right. You'll be all right. It's not like we're living in a third world country or something like that. You think 42 million people are going to starve to death because the SNAP program's been cut off? It's supposed to be starting up again, but I hate hearing that, because everybody's so concerned about people getting their SNAP benefits. Even the Republicans are saying the same thing. Oh, yeah, we got to make sure these people get their SNAP benefits. Bump it. You need to get rid of SNAP and revamp it. It needs to be overhauled because so many people are benefiting from it. And see, this is taxpayer money. I don't want my hard-earned dollars going to someone who's on SNAP and they turn around and just buy a bunch of junk with it. And then get up on TikTok or YouTube and talk about, yeah, look at what I got with my SNAP. Ain't nothing but a bunch of junk. I was watching this lady on YouTube the other day. And this lady isn't on SNAP, she's a content creator. She make a lot of money and everything. But this lady, she sounds so ghetto. She make a lot of money. She'll even get up there and tell you, I'm making that bag. I'm making that bag. And so she gets up there talking about, oh, I feed my family. I feed my family. And every video, I seen maybe as many as 10 videos, maybe. Every video shows her she got 4 kids. She says she got 3 baby daddies, and she's glad that none of them daddies are in her life because she can take care of her kids. That's stupid. But anyway, she gets up there and she says, yes, I'm taking care of my kids. I looked one time, she had a pile of pizzas. And she would call her kids in and she would give them a pizza and ask them what kind of chips did they want. And they'll say, yeah, I want the Cheetos. Okay, there you go. They're your Cheetos. And then some soda or something like that. And then talk about, oh, I take care of my kids. I feed my kids. I feed my kids. Yeah, but what are you feeding them? Yeah, they'll be able to eat the pizza and everything now that they're young, but when they get older, their body's going to tell on them. And some of her kids look like they were well on their way to a life of obesity. One time she showed she had a video and she was showing that she bought this stuff from Wendy's and everything, caught her kids in again and everything. I'm sitting there like, why does she keep feeding her kids all this junk? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to Wendy's every now and then or anything like that. That might be a good thing not to go there, period. But, if you go there every now and then, that's fine. But every day, you got all this money. You can buy the most nutritious food. You can buy some nourishing food, but you choose to buy junk. Where's the cabbage? Where's the tomatoes? Where's the salad? Where's the nutritious food? You just giving your kids what they want. And then when all is said and done, you go into the hair salon and getting your hair done and your nails done and talking about, yeah, I take care of my kids. I say, you all have got to be kidding me. You all have got to be kidding me. I was watching this lady. I say, you got to be kidding me. All she did was give her kids junk. Yeah, she's feeding her kids. I mean, that's noble, but look at what you're feeding them. I said, oh my, and see, the reason why I talk like this, because you know what? There were times when I didn't eat the healthiest myself. That's probably why I had the gallbladder surgery earlier this year. But some of the things that we're eating, we thinking we're eating something that's nutritious, and it really isn't, because it got all these little hidden chemicals and everything in it. And a lot of us don't read the ingredients. But we have a health epidemic in this country, and the powers that be, they don't care. All they care about is getting your delicious votes when the election cycle comes around. That's all they care about. That is all they care about. They do not care about your well-being or anything. All they want to do is do what they'll do something to satisfy you. They'll tickle your ears a little bit. And then, they know that, hey, I do this for them, hey, I'm, getting on their good side. And so that when time to vote comes around, these people are like, hey, you know what? That guy over there, he helped me, so I'm going to vote for him. And they don't care about your policies or anything. All they know is that, oh, he helped feed me. He gave me an Obama phone. He did this. He did that. But they don't look deep enough into the policies and say, wait a minute, are these in my best interest? They're not going to do that. Okay, I see somebody in my listener list. I am simply amazing. I wonder if that's Retta. I hope that's Retta. I hope Retta's not having a hard time getting into the chat. I hope she's not having a hard time getting into the chat, because my chat room is open. But if you're listening to me and you can get in the chat, just let me know. Just let me know. I'm kind of ranting today in a way, because it's just a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on this week. And I'm like, a lot of this stuff is really, and I don't mean to say this, but it's really frustrating me. It really is. The stupidity of a lot of people, because they don't understand what is really going on. They think that the government is just there to give them stuff, and that's not what the government is. And the government is all too happy to oblige, because they know they can get some votes. That's how Barack Obama got elected. That's how Joe Biden got elected. That's how Kamala Harris won so many people. That's why Hillary Clinton won so many people, because everybody thinks, the government is here to take care of us. No, they're not. They're not there to take care of to take care of you. You need to take care of yourself. The government is just supposed to get out of the way. The government is there to stop enemies, foreign and domestic. They're there to stop people from breaking the law. But other than that, they need to get out the way. They don't need to be dipping their hands in your health care. They don't need to be dipping their hands in your education. But we think because they're doing something for us, then that's why they're going to get our votes. No, And this senator, this congresswoman, Sarah McBride, where is she a congresswoman at? I don't know which state she's in. I keep thinking Tennessee. I don't know if she's in Tennessee or whatever. But she gets up here talking about, all this stuff that's going on today is Trump's fault. Nah, it's Barack Obama's fault. Really, it's a lot of the uneducated voters' fault because they were so caught up in people's charisma. They voted for somebody they didn't know anything about. They didn't check their policies, and they were just caught up in the charisma. And now that's why we have this disaster. But now they want to blame Donald Trump because everything's going negative now. It's Donald Trump's fault. No. This was going on long before Donald Trump came into play. And these rascals that talking about this Donald Trump's fault, they know good and well they don't use Obamacare. They don't use Obamacare. They go up here and hey, they get a procedure. Oh, here you go. Boom. No problem. No problem. But folks, one thing I want to say is those of you all who know the Lord, and I'm not saying this generally. Those of you all who know the Lord and the saving of your sins, we really need to pray for this country. We really need to pray for this country. I know people say that and they don't do it and everything, but we need to pray for this country. We need to pray for the protection of our president, whoever that may be. Pray that God will open his eyes to the truth, that he would govern from a godly standpoint. We need to pray for the leaders in our churches, that they will stop trying to abide by the culture, and that they will go to the word of God instead of going to the word of politics. People like Jamal Bryant, we need to run these people out the country. Jamal Bryant is one of the biggest banes in this country. Talking about he wants to take the Target boycott to another level. He wants to get up there. He's so proud and everything. And all he preaches is civil rights. People like him need to be run out of the country. And that's a problem I have with a lot of black preachers. They care more about the culture than they do about the word of God. They care more about their skin color. They care more about their politics than they do about the word of God. And they try to mix them together and thinking that, because we're standing for civil rights, that means we're standing on the gospel. No, you're not. Because every time I see these rascals, they're always talking about how black they are. It's my skin color. I'm a black man. They get up here, and people still saying that Charlie Kirk was a racist. I don't know how anyone can get, I get someone every now and then sending me a message through my Facebook, showing me an example of Charlie Kirk being a racist. You're not proving anything to me. I've listened to a whole bunch of Charlie Kirk videos. Charlie Kirk may have had his flaws and everything. That's not for. I'm not going to go on that right now. Charlie Kirk is dead and gone. But you're not going to tell me you can watch all these videos of Charlie Kirk and come to the conclusion that this man was a racist, that he was a white supremacist. You have got to be outside of your freaking mind. It's like your brain is made of wood and it's infested with termites. And the thing about it is you got Christian people doing this mess. So let me reiterate that. So-called Christian people. They say they're Christian. They talk about the Lord. They can get up there and they got, yeah. Oh, I feel it. Can you feel the Lord? I think this section is, I don't think they can feel the Lord. Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, yeah, children, let's do it. Yeah, let's give glory to God. And whenever they say that now, I'm like, what God are you talking about? Because you're not talking about the God of heaven and earth. Nope. But really, I do believe that a lot of this stems from the church. We're not doing our job. We're supposed to be changing the culture, but the culture is changing us. The culture is supposed to abide by the word of God, but we want to go to the culture and say, hey, let's borrow some of your tactics so we can get more people into our churches. Let's use your music and so we can get people into churches. But that's all you're going to get. You're going to get people who come to your church for a performance, but when it comes to the word of God, it's going to be sadly lacking. You might come to your church and they have a laser light show and all that, and your preacher is coming to the pulpit on a zip line and all that crazy mess. We don't need to be involved in that. We need to preach the gospel straight forward. And we don't need to pollute the gospel with our politics. And that's some of the things that people like Cindy Trim, Jamal Bryant, who's that knucklehead in Texas? Mike Todd, the man who spit in his hand and rubbed it on his brother's face. That was one of the most disgusting things I think I ever had seen in my life, man. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You're not telling me this guy did this. And I saw it for myself. I almost threw up. That was nasty. This guy gets up, he pours syrup on the Bible and on the stage, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I saw one video where he was sitting in a chair. Someone was giving him a haircut, and he's over there preaching while he's getting a hair. I said, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me!" I told myself, and folks, let me just be straight and honest with you. I told myself if I ever started a church, and I'm not one of those who's like, I want a bunch of people to come under me and everything. No, I don't. Be honest with you, I really don't have a desire to be a church leader. But I told myself if I ever started a church, first of all, I wouldn't have them screens on the walls. I have no problem with people doing that, but I won't have them because what I'm seeing in a lot of churches is when people come to church, they don't even bring their Bibles. Because hey, scriptures on the screen. I would tell people bring a physical Bible if you want to bring it on your iPhone or something like that. But I want to be able to let the people go to the scriptures and read along as I read the scriptures myself. I won't have all these, gimmicks and everything to get the kids in and get more people in and everything. Preach the word. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been listening to a certain preacher. He passed away about a month ago, Voddie Baucham. Man, I've been listening to some of his sermons, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this dude, he was preaching the gospel. Now I know some people got a problem with Voddie because he was hooked up with John MacArthur and everything like that. But you cannot deny listening to one of his sermons. I was listening to one of it. I said, "Oh my goodness, this is the gospel." He's not up there. And people to the left of me, I want to hear you say hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Anyone can preach like that. Anyone can preach like that. But Voddie Baucham, he gets up there and he just preaches the word. Oh, he did an excellent sermon on the religion of Islam. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the gospel right here. And folks, let me tell you all something. No church is going to be perfect. I'm just going to let you know that right now. No church is going to be perfect. The church me and my wife go to here in Durham, they have all them lights and everything. I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about no lights and everything. All I care about is hearing the word. I don't, look, you want to have your lights and everything, you go right at it. But I'm not impressed with that. What I want to hear is the word. If you want to shout, that's fine. But nobody should be trying to, oh, come on, everybody, let's get excited. Come on, you got to get excited. Are you excited, brother? You don't look excited. You better get excited, man. You got the devil sitting in your lap. People don't need to hear that. They need to hear the word. Because it's the word that's going to break everything. We can sit here and talk about our politics. We can sit here and talk about, whatever is going on in the world, the policies and everything. We can talk about our favorite personalities and everything. But the word is what's going to break everything. And the word does not need our help. All we need to do is put it out there. But a lot of us, we are so caught up in politics, we don't care about the Bible anymore. We're so caught up in our skin color, we don't care about the Bible anymore. We're so caught up in civil rights, we don't care about the Bible. Bump that Bible. It cramps our style. Oh, Jesus is just there to give us stuff. We sow our seed into the church. And Jesus take care of the rest. I got a dream and an aspiration. And if I do everything right, if I sow my seed and whatever, he's going to make sure those dreams and aspirations come to pass. But folks, let me tell you all something. Your preacher is not big time special. Church I used to go to, the pastor used to say that people were telling him that he's a man just like everybody else, and he'd get up there and say, I'm not a man like everybody else. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You need a savior just like the rest of us do. And it's sad when I see a lot of these preachers get up here, they get caught up in sin, and they sit down for a while. Then next thing you know, they have a restoration service. Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But they won't give you that. They won't give you that luxury because you don't have a title to your name, and they make it look like that God is a respecter of persons. You can have 5 baby mamas, and you call yourself a preacher. They still let you preach from the pulpit. This is sad, people. This is sad. And this is the reason why this country is in a sad state that it's in. And folks, I'm going to say something, and this is just my opinion. This is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it or anything like that, but this is just my opinion. I don't think the United States is going to last too much longer. Oh, don't speak that. That's speaking death. This country is no. I don't think it's going to last any longer. Can someone show me in the Bible any references to the United States of America? In the book of Revelation, in the book of Daniel, anywhere in the Bible, any reference to the United States of America? If you do, and I'm not saying you can't find it, I've never seen a reference to the United States. And I've read through the Bible several times, and I can't find a reference to the United States anywhere in the Bible. Nowhere. Nowhere. I think the United States is going to be off the scene. Whether we collapse financially and our infrastructure and where we will be of no effect to the rest of the world. And I'm not trying to prophesy or anything like that. I am not a prophet. I am not telling, but that's just what that's what I think. I think the United States is somehow not going to be a player when the book of Revelation starts to be fulfilled. And like I said, that is just my opinion. I don't want anybody saying, well, Vincent believes this and everything. No. Well, yeah, in a way I do believe that, but I let's just say I do believe that's what's going to happen, but I also understand that I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong, but I don't think I am. But anyway, folks, I got a few more minutes here in the show. I want to thank those of you all who have been listening at this time, whether you're live or if you're listening to the publication on Podbean. Really appreciate you all. Yeah, you can find this on my YouTube page as well. True Sharks TV. Just look up True Sharks TV and you'll see the podcast appear on there. And if you want to listen to it again, you can go there. But people, like I said earlier, those of you all who know the power of prayer, and I don't take this lightly because there are a lot of people talking about I know the power of prayer, and they're not following the Lord. They're not. But if you know the power of prayer, we really do need to pray for this country. And pray that people's eyes will be open to the truth, that they will understand and that they will understand the truth when they see it, and that they will not turn their backs on it, that they will not be worried about how the truth cramps their style or anything like that, that they will say, oh, this is the truth. Okay. And let's strive to make common sense common again. You know how some of these animals, you got some animals that are on the brink of extinction, and they doing all they can to make sure they can bring these animals from the brink of extinction. They might they might have some type of captive breeding program, or they might use some DNA to see if they can bring this animal back to life again. That's what we need to do with the truth and common sense, because common sense is lacking, and truth has become an enemy to a lot of us out here. And we need to pray that people's eyes will be open to the truth. But once again, you all take care of yourselves. I'm not so sure about, well, I plan on having a show next Saturday, I'll tell you that. But I have to work around my wife's schedule because she's got a part-time job now. And like I said, all my shows are not going to be on a set time every week. But this is something I really want to keep going with. And I want to thank Sister Retta Washington for that, because Retta gets on me sometimes. She'll get on me. She's a true sister in the Lord, and she'll get on me and say, hey, bro, she was getting on me the other day. She said, hey, you used to do this every Saturday, and I say, yeah, life happens and everything and stuff like that. But this is something I want to do on the regular. But folks, take care of yourselves out there. Stay safe. Do your necessary research and study. Don't let the politics of this world determine what you think or believe, but uphold the word as a final standard in your lives. This is Vincent E. Brown. I am signing off. And until the next time, I'll see you on The Rebound. You are listening to WVEB True Sharks Radio.